Our new report suggests that immigrants are less likely to commit crimes than South Africans. That's according to the Institute for Security Studies. It explored claims fueling anti-foreigner sentiment, which has seen immigrants blamed for a range of social and economic problems in South Africa. Let's discuss the report now. We're joined by Lizette Lancaster from the Institute for Security Studies. Lizette, thank you very much for your time here on eNCA. I was very interested in reading this report when I saw it yesterday. Just tell me exactly when the ISS started doing this report. Was it prompted, for instance, by the remarks that were made by the Health MEC in Limpopo?
Thank you. We started dealing with this issue before then. We have been monitoring violence and public violence in our public spaces since 2013. And we started seeing this rise in xenophobic violence. We should remember that over 60 people died in 2008, and we saw these outbursts again and attacks in 2015. And then we started seeing a rise ahead of the July unrest last year. And we also saw the formation of groups like Operation Dudula. So we felt compelled to interrogate some of the narratives that are perpetuated and spread on social media by our political leaders, by government officials and these groups, to see if these hold water, if they are true, and if they are not, to really interrogate what the evidence is. And that's why we drafted this report. It just happened to coincide with the remarks from the MEC.
And, you know, when it comes to those particular remarks by the MEC, basically, having South Africans believe that foreign nationals are the cause of the overburdening of our public healthcare system, is this what you found in your report?
No, it is not so. What we do find is that, of course, there are immigrants that make use of the services, government services. But the first thing we need to understand is that immigrants only make up less than 4 million of our 61 million population. So they also pay and contribute to services, and although they might be clustered in certain areas, just as domestic migrants are, and services do get burdened in cities, for example, because of just poor service delivery, mismanagement, corruption, all the problems that we have been facing. It is statistically impossible for 6.5% of the population, which are documented and undocumented migrants, to flood the entire system. There might be pockets, but it's definitely an exaggerated claim.
So in terms of the undocumented foreign nationals in any country, how do we know that they form part of the 6.5% if we don't know that they are in our country?
Yes, of course, there's always a bit of a dark figure, but there are other databases and sources that get also checked. So the first is the UN and the World Bank. They put the estimate on about 4.2 million, and that was in 2019. We know now from other data by Stats SA that it is less now because we had an outmigration and less people coming in during COVID. So that's the one thing. The other type of sources are fertility rates, death rates, and so on. Now, we know the data is not perfect. But if you just think for yourself, some of the claims say there are 25 million or 17 million in the country. If we go into normal areas, we will see that we can't even find 1 in 5 or 1 in 4 people being non-South African.
So then maybe our problem is a lack of service delivery.
Well, that's what's been acknowledged by government. The Auditor General has flagged all these qualified audits. We know from state capture, the Zondo Commission and other inquiries how rife corruption is. We are not saying that immigrants are not involved in certain payments and bribes at hospitals and such, but we are saying that often these are led by South Africans, and we can't blame systemic failures and mismanagement on immigrants.
All right, Lizette, I have to quickly wrap up my interview with you, Lizette Lancaster from the ISS.